Dzień dobry, witam serdecznie w naszej ambasady. Dzisiaj mamy konferencję prasową, żeby wyjaśnić trochę sytuację dotyczącą handlu dwustronny między Polską i Wielką Brytanią. Dzisiaj ja będę rozmawiać przede wszystkim po angielsku, ale oczywiście mamy tłumaczenie. Welcome everybody. The purpose of today's discussion is to explain more clearly the situation in terms of bilateral trade between Britain and Poland and the enormous opportunity that represents for both countries. I plan to say something about the British-Polish growth agenda. Then I will ask my colleague Martin Oxley, the head of our UK Trade and Investment team, to go into the figures in a bit more detail for you. After that, Alan Jarman, a good friend of the Embassy and chairman of the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce, will talk about the British-Polish trade opportunity. And then we thought it would be good to give you an opportunity to listen to two of Britain's most successful companies in Poland, that is GlaxoSmithKline and Tesco, before having a short, moderated panel discussion. What I'd like to do now is briefly outline for you why I think trade between Britain and Poland represents an extremely important part of the bilateral relationship and a tremendous opportunity. To begin with a basic fact, Britain is Poland's second largest export market. That is a demonstration, I think, of the depth of the economic relationship between our two countries. And of course, the fact that there is a significant trade deficit in Poland's favour is obviously very good news for Poland. As a supporter of Manchester United Football Club in the United Kingdom, I take this as a challenge. I believe firmly that there are tremendous opportunities for UK PLC here in Poland. The opportunity is obvious. At a time when most countries in the EU are struggling to hit 1% growth, Poland secured over 4% growth last year, and so far this year is doing better than expected. That is a fantastic basis for developing the opportunity that Poland represents. That does not mean that in the last 12 months there have not been significant successes. UK trade in goods to Poland was up by 14%. That is a very impressive figure. UK trade with Poland is one of the most important markets for the UK globally. It is already firmly in the top 20, and my aspiration is that we head up the scale, because the scale of the opportunity here is extremely strong. We believe very firmly that the British companies already here and making a tremendous success in this market are an indication of the opportunity that lies ahead. I am frequently asked by officials, by journalists, why is Britain so absent in Poland today? I think that is more based on a misunderstanding, frankly, than anything else. There are a tremendous number of highly successful British companies doing great business in Poland today, really powerful brands. You'll be hearing from Tesco and GSK, but there are companies like Rolls-Royce, Shell, BP, Aviva, RSA, and many others that have been present on the Polish market for many years investing in Poland, working very largely with hard-working Polish employees, and making a tremendous contribution to the remarkable economic success that Poland has enjoyed over the last 20 years. So I regard the concept that Britain is absent from Poland in an economic sense as already a myth. But I do accept that there are tremendous opportunities going forward. I am pleased that many of the British companies already here are interested in expanding their businesses or have recently, like GSK, opened new investments here in Poland. The challenge ahead for the Embassy, BPCC and British business is to exploit more of those opportunities. As an embassy, we have an important part to play in that effort. If you take, for example, the energy sector, Poland has ambitious plans both to introduce a civil nuclear program and to exploit the opportunity that shale gas represents. British expertise in the nuclear sector is amongst the world leaders. Our reputation on matters such as safety, waste reprocessing, etc. is second to none. It was the British Nuclear Safety Inspectorate that led the mission to Japan, for example, after last year's earthquake and tsunami. On shale gas, people always talk about this being something that takes place in the US and Canada. The reality, of course, is that both BP and Shell are big players in the shale gas market in the US. And it was a British company, Three Legs Resources, that was the first to flare shale gas here in Poland. So that is an indication that in one key sector alone, Britain is already well placed to play a major part going forward. And we in the Embassy will be working with relevant British companies to make sure that we maximise these opportunities. Our other focus will very much be on key sectors where we believe there is a real match between British capability and expertise and the needs of the Polish market. They include security and defence, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, infrastructure, and I think a very interesting and important market, that is retail. It is a remarkable phenomenon at the moment that whereas in much of Europe right now there is a lot of window shopping and less real shopping and a lot of sales very much out of season, here in Poland the market is very different. I am struck by the amount of time I have to spend in queues when I want to buy something that I have purchased here, and that's not just about bad service, that's about a lot of business. So, as I say, I think there are tremendous opportunities for British companies. One of the things that we are going to do to support this effort is to spend more of our time, both as the Embassy here in Warsaw and indeed in the Central European region, back in the UK, talking to British companies and to people who work with British companies, like banks, like accountants and like lawyers, to identify for them the specific opportunity that Poland represents. I am absolutely convinced that there is a great deal that we can do to display the attractions of the Polish market, and we are very much in collaboration too with the Polish authorities on this, because of course the Polish Embassy in London, the Foreign Ministry and the Economy Ministry here are also very much involved in this. So, as I say, I am very much an optimist about the future of British-Polish trade. Let me touch briefly on one other important topic, and that is foreign direct investment. I am convinced that we will continue to see British companies investing in Poland. The figures in terms of inbound projects for 2012, according to PIES, suggests that we are now ranking in 3rd place. So we are beginning to see a return to significant levels of FDI from the UK. But there's one other thing that I think is important, and it happens on a day when the formal announcement of a major Polish investment in Canada is taking place, is that there are actually tremendous opportunities for Polish companies to invest in the UK. I am thinking specifically in the areas of R&D and innovation. Poland has been doing very well in recent years, but competition is growing across the world, and all of our companies, British, Polish, and those from other countries in the EU, need to upskill, become more innovative, and use R&D more effectively. And the UK is Europe's #1 place for doing R&D and innovation. That is why so many companies from the Far East, one example, Samsung, do so much of their R&D in the UK, and I think there are great opportunities for Polish companies to come to the UK and do R&D, innovation and similar activities. We recently had a very successful event here where we introduced the concept of Tech City, which is essentially our innovation centre in the area of IT, which has been a real success story over the last 12 months and has expanded greatly in size. We are well on track to be Europe's #1 in that area too, and there is already real interest from Polish entrepreneurs and innovators in Tech City. So I am, as I say, tremendously optimistic about the prospects going forward. But I'd now like Martin Oxley to say a few words about the statistics for you in more detail. Thank you.